Welcome back to another first impression, this time for the anime Cultural Exchange with a Gamer Center Girl. Synopsis from any list. Kusakabe Renji, a young man working at a game center, sees an English girl named Lily Baker playing a crane game on Valentine's Day. Seeing her fail repeatedly to win a prize, Renji can't help but take action. The day after Lily finally gets her plushie, Renji receives an unexpected message from her that reads, "Be my Valentine." What started as a misunderstanding leads to cultural exchange. Now I watched the first 3 episodes. I also know the manga, so I do know a little bit more about the show going forward. The anime itself was pretty enjoyable. The animation was nice, the art style is very nice, very bright. The interactions are very, cute. Lily is behaving like a cute little girl. Renji seems somewhat confused. It is endearing, it is bubbly. I like the sisters. These are the only 3 characters we at the moment have only seen. Sister is very positive, very encouraging towards Lily, and she's also has a protective side for Lily. Now, the big part in this show is that Lily is English speaking. She is English speaking even in the Japanese version, and she's speaking English quite a bit, and she's speaking very well. The VA is pretty good in English, because she grew up in America as far as I know. So this is totally fine. I can understand why it would be a little bit off-putting, because it is not really what you come to expect from a Japanese show. But it just fits very well. And I do see some criticism that she's speaking Japanese with her mom, even though this is just so you don't have to subtitle everything, every interaction. It is only really important between her and Japanese speaking people what language they speak, and not really between her and her mom. But that is fine. Now, it is enjoyable. I find this is a pretty good show. It is, can you expect some deep conversational topics? No. Can you expect some big storylines? No, it's just bubbly, it's fun, it's a little bit enjoyment in your day-to-day life. However, there's one big issue I see come up, and that is the age gap between Renji and Lily. It is in the end something of like a rom-com. It has a lot of comedy, it has some romance, which is mostly by Lily. Renji is somewhat confused by that, at least shown at this point. And, it's like, it is endearing, however, there is a huge age gap. And I understand if people are like, I do not agree with this age gap, and you just go, this is not for me, and ignore the anime, totally acceptable. There are also people that just ignore it. They are like, I don't care, I'm just going to because these are make-believe characters anyway, so you just put ages as long as no ages are stated. You can just imagine ages. You can say, Lily, she is a witch, 9,000 years, bam, done. You can do whatever you want, or you just accept that this is how it is. I am watching anime and consuming this media for like 20 plus years. This is not uncommon. It is in most cases not stated, like in this one. And in my early days, I just ignored it. I just made up my numbers, and I would recommend, if you consume this media, unless it is very obvious, just make up your numbers and fine. Now, I still do understand, and I do agree, they could have just made Renji like a couple years younger and the whole story would be fine. We would not have this discussion at all. But here we are. I do not agree with making Lily older. I would rather just make Renji younger. It would still work fine. All the interaction would be fine. But sure, this is how the story is. They wanted to make the story. I'm going to accept it. I'm old enough. It is make-believe. Outside of the show, other rules apply. But inside the show, I do not care. As I do not care in other shows where people murder each other. I'm like, it's in the show. I don't care. So, people on AniList gave it 66%. And my anime list 6.9. I do wonder if some of the ratings are because of the age gap, but it is hard to say. I would say it's like an 8 out of 10. I see this as pretty enjoyable. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not going to change your life, but if you like the interactions, it seems like it could be enjoyable, every week, a little bit brightness in your life instead of, we need a little bit more of these kinds of shows, and I mean positive shows that are lighthearted, instead of more takopi, because holy shit. However, seemed pretty enjoyable.